Alright, hello, I'm a little late to this, but today I wanted to cover the controversy surrounding the third season of The Chosen. So if you're not familiar with The Chosen is a TV series or a series online that was created a while ago by this director named Dallas Jenkins. Now it depicts the life and ministry of Jesus essentially, and the first two seasons are over and now it's the third season, and the trailer for it was just released. And now there was a huge controversy that came up from the trailer. Now, what happened was that in the trailer, there was this small snippet of the actor for Jesus, or Jesus essentially, saying,
"Scourge of false prophecy must stop."
Jesus, if you do not renounce your words, we will have no choice but to follow the law of Moses.
I am the law of Moses.
I am the law of Moses, in response to the Pharisees. And people came out and criticized the trailer for quoting the Book of Mormon, because apparently the Book of Mormon says that, but the Bible doesn't. So they were saying that Dallas Jenkins, the director, was quoting the Book of Mormon instead. And then there was this huge hoo-ha about, The Chosen shouldn't be watched, and you're not supposed to let your kids consume this, and it's not biblically accurate and whatnot. Now, amidst all of this criticism, Dallas came forward to release a video to explain himself and, talk about the entire issue. So, what Dallas said was that his approach to dealing with criticism was essentially to stop thinking about trying to please men. It was to stop focusing on what other people would say and instead just go with his conscience, do what he thinks would please God, and then carry on. And people can make as much noise as they want, and that's up to them, but he won't let it affect him. Now, I think that's a pretty good strategy in order to remain sane. I mean, everybody has an opinion now, and everybody can get offended at whatever you say. So I guess blocking out the noise is a good strategy. Unless you're actually wrong. Then what? So this is what I want to talk about, which is, what if Dallas Jenkins was wrong? If he actually is wrong and he chooses to shut himself off from criticism and not think about it, instead go with his conscience and what he perceives and what he interprets God will be most pleased with, then he would be going down the wrong path and doing something that is wrong, right? And this is where I start to think, where would his counsel come from, right? Is there any way that he can be kept in check? Or more importantly, is there any way that he himself can keep himself in check? If he's going to block out the noise, then, he won't know if he's actually wrong or not. And that's one of the scariest things, right? If all he's going by is his conscience and his interpretation of God's truth, how will he know if he's made a mistake? Because I'm sure he's more than willing to admit that he's not 100% correct in all of his interpretations as well. Yeah. So just a side note here, it is an art form, as in he's producing art. And as with all art, I don't think you should take it as seriously as a Bible translation, for example. If he's creating a film and he wants to add some artistic elements to it, even though it's not part of the Bible, I think that's up to him, and I think it's perfectly fine. But let's get back to the point on how you know if you're wrong. Alright, so on the one hand, it's important to have criticism because that's how you know when you're wrong. That's how you know when you've strayed from the path, right? But on the other hand, if you keep listening to this endless chain of criticism and keep getting swayed left and right by other people, you'll never be able to stand firm on your stance. You'll never be able to say, yes, this is what I believe in, and I'm going to be sure of that, right? And it could even destroy you if all you do is hear criticism. It could completely demoralize you and blow you out of the water, essentially. So there is this balancing act that you have to do, and specifically to the Christian realm, it is one of the things that I'm really disappointed in, that there is no consensus with regards to these things. You would think that if there is a God that everyone supposedly believes in, then this kind of disagreement wouldn't exist. I understand if in a secular world it exists because you can look at things and interpret them differently. But for a God that rules over everything, having his people disagree over interpretation and then have this kind of controversy as a result and conflict, I just don't understand why it's the case. Yeah. So, but anyway, that's the Christian side. We want to talk about the secular side. It's even more difficult of a struggle because as a person who, let's say, has a voice and wants to talk about something happening and maybe even give advice to a group of people, right? You have to think to yourself, how are you going to ensure that you are right? How are you going to ensure that you receive feedback properly and listen to it properly, right? And this brings it to a different point, which is on assertiveness. And I guess the dilemma that comes with being assertive. When you want to offer a piece of advice or instruction or opinion, you are either assertive about it, as in you're really confident, or you go on the more suggestive attitude, as in, oh yeah, I mean, you could do this and I would suggest that you do this, but I could be wrong, you know. On one hand, the assertive attitude is very powerful if done correctly. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced this before, having heard somebody say with great gusto and confidence that you need to get your life together, that you need to get out of this rut and stop wasting time, stop procrastinating. And then you're like, wow, really? Yeah, I gotta do it, man, I gotta do it. And that's fine. But on the other hand, people who don't receive the message well will see it as someone being arrogant and condescending, and then as a result, it will turn them even further away and create even more conflict. Whereas if you chose the more, open and less serious or harsh tone, then maybe they might be more willing to consider it. You say, you should perhaps take a look at your life and see where you could improve, and maybe you'll find something. And then the opposition may not be so taken aback, and instead be like, oh yeah, maybe he has a point, he's being nice about it. But that means that you lose this sense of assertiveness and I guess the push that the people who are already on your side will need. So this is the dilemma of assertiveness that I would like to point out. I know it was a pretty messy video, but I hope you have something to think about based off what I just said. And regarding The Chosen, my personal recommendation, just watch the show. It's really good. Watch the show and don't think that it is a one-for-one translation of the Bible, and you should be set. If not, that's all I have for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.